So they're waiting patiently. Meanwhile, at the other end of the Palace of Westminster, that procession by the Speaker, I'm told, is just about to happen. And this is where the inspector in the central lobby will give the order for people to remove their hats. Not many hats in evidence, I have to say, as Jeremy says, but just in case they are, that's the job. And it's a familiar sight for all of us who've worked and experienced life in the Palace of Westminster over the years. Hats Off Strangers is one of the great showpiece events, if you like, of the day-to-day business of the Palace of Westminster. And as Jeremy says, he's shown thousands of his constituents around, and I know Caroline and Michael have done the same. All of this is part of the display, but it's part of the tradition too, which people enjoy.
Hats off, strangers.
So the order is given. That was a modest hats off, strangers. But the shout of Speaker was, well, that was given with full energy, I think. John Bercow, the Speaker of the House of Commons, making his way through Central Lobby on state opening day, followed by members of his staff, including Chaplain, Speaker's Chaplain, and they will go right through into the Chamber of the Commons, which will be pretty full by now. Through the members' lobby, which is where members congregate to pick up the post and chat to journalists too and chat to colleagues. The Speaker acknowledging some of those who gathered in members' lobby. And we're not allowed to stay in the Chamber of the Commons for more than a couple of seconds here, because that's where they have their daily prayers before the session gets underway. But we can see the Speaker coming in anyway. Followed by the mace, a powerful weapon of war in days gone by, and sometimes used as a weapon by a couple of MPs in the past. But it is the symbol of the sovereign's authority, and without that in place, the Commons can't be in session. Let's go back to the Royal Gallery for the procession in state. Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, followed by the pages of honour. Hugo Barty, the Honourable Charles Armstrong-Jones, Viscount Aithry and Arthur Chatto have been chosen for this honour today, followed by the ladies in waiting. And there we have, for the first time in 17 years, the Prince of Wales attending the state opening, and for the first time ever, the Duchess of Cornwall attending the state opening of Parliament. Sword of State, carried by Admiral the Lord Boyce. The Cap of Maintenance by the Lord Hill. They head towards the Prince's Chamber, which is the ante-room, if you like, just before they enter the chamber of the House of Lords. Chiefs of Defence Forces, the Vice Chief of the Defence Staff, General Sir Nicholas Houghton, Air Chief Marshal Sir Stephen Dalton, Chief of the Naval Staff, Admiral Sir George Zambellis, and Commander Land Forces, Lieutenant General Adrian Bradshaw. Into the chamber of the House of Lords. The Queen and the Duke will take their places on the pair of thrones. The Queen will then invite everyone to be seated, and then she will give the signal for Black Rod to be sent to the House of Commons.
My lords, pray be seated.
Signal is given by the Marquis of Cholmondeley. Black Rod has received the signal. Great view there, right along from the central lobby, right down to the throne of the House of Lords. As Black Rod makes his way this short stretch of corridor into the members' lobby of the House of Commons, and this is where he was describing to me earlier on what the precise nature of the duty was and what it symbolised. And explaining his combination of duties too, the fact that he takes great pride, of course, in his role in the ceremonial, because, as Nick was explaining, this is a great display of the authority and sovereignty of the Commons, but also, of course, in his daily work, which is to look after a very important area of security in his part of the House of Westminster, which is the House of Lords.
Are they still in press?
A little delay, because I'm told that we may be slightly ahead of schedule. This is very unusual, I have to say, because Black Rod normally makes his way straight down to the House of Commons, but I suspect it's because prayers haven't quite finished, or maybe they took a little longer than they should have done in the House of Commons, but Black Rod will not appreciate the wait. But there we are, he's on his way. So he's on his way, ready to be confronted with closed doors, the House of Commons, and he'll knock and ask to gain admission.
Mr. Speaker, the Queen commands this honourable House to attend Her Majesty immediately in the House of Peers.
Royal Mail for sale, Queen's Head privatised.
The usual contribution from Dennis Skinner, though I did think for a few seconds we weren't going to get one. He's normally in a little more quickly. But a sharp political observation from the Labour backbencher, the veteran MP for Bolsover, represented Bolsover since 1970 in the House of Commons. This is the moment where members of the House of Commons now make their way to the House of Lords to hear the Queen's speech, led by Mr. Speaker. Black Rod having a word, Mr. Speaker, I suspect possibly about the little delay, but I'd love to be a lip reader. Clerk to the House of Commons. There we have the Prime Minister, Ed Miliband. In animated chat, Harriet Harman for Labour, Ed Balls, Chancellor George Osborne, Yvette Cooper, Ian Duncan Smith, and Philip Hammond, led by the Speaker's chaplain. Nick Clegg, the Deputy Prime Minister, chatting to Harriet Harman there. This is the moment, Nick, I suppose, where, especially where Ed Miliband and David Cameron are concerned, they know the cameras are on them. And we have had a hint of frost in the past with some leaders, but they're having a very friendly conversation.
Friendly, animated for the cameras, of course. Actually, I've not heard any suggestion they don't get on
perfectly well. I mean, in the sense of their political enemies, let's be honest. They want, one wants to replace the others. But you sometimes hear behind the scenes, you certainly did in Gordon Brown's day, of leaders who really disliked each other. There's no evidence of that at all. You could see it there, actually. They're quite capable of both having a good gossip and a chat.
Don't imagine that all of these MPs are going to fit into the House of Lords, because they're not. In fact, I wonder why some of them actually make their way there. There's not a lot of room. There we have Charles Kennedy there, the former Lib Dem leader, Simon Hughes. There's not a lot of room at the bar of the House of Lords. Possibly no more than 30 or 40 MPs can fit in there. So once you put in the Prime Minister and Opposition Leader and Cabinet Ministers, there's not a great amount of room there for, let's say, 500 or 600 MPs. But in the House of Lords, we now have Blackrod and the Speaker, Clerk of the House, and closely followed by Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, Labour Leader, Deputy Leader, Deputy Leader of the Liberal Democrats too, William Hague, Foreign Secretary, Eric Pickles, the Community Secretary, had a very busy day last week, the local elections. And they will wait now until most of them are in. The Earl Marshal has told the Lord Chancellor to offer the speech to Her Majesty. Chris Grayling, the Lord Chancellor.